Hello everyone, welcome to your detailed weather forecast once again for Winter Storm Orlena. So we're pretty far into the storm now. We're getting towards the beginning of the worst for a lot of the Northeast. And as you can see, we have a lot of winter weather alerts that were there are gone now for a lot of these areas. A lot of the winter weather has moved, especially out of these areas. There's been a lot of winter weather that has moved out and now it's starting to move north. The coastal low is about to take over today. It still hasn't taken over yet. This is still the main low, but we're starting to see something going on down towards the North Carolina coast. But yeah, the coastal low is going to take over, and then things will really crank up tomorrow. Tomorrow is a really good day for many of these areas, especially. This is where we're going to have a good jackpot of snow. So here's the winter weather alerts. You can see we have winter storm warnings in the pink. The winter storm warnings are still in effect for southeast Wisconsin and around Chicago, mainly because the lakes are really pumping in more and more snow. So the snow isn't done for them yet. There's been reports of like 8 to 10 inches, probably more in some of the localized spots. And as you can see in the other spots, we have winter weather advisories from eastern Iowa over to other parts of Illinois. And then as you can see, we have those winter weather advisories for a lot of Kentucky too. And then we have winter storm watches for parts of the Appalachians for a lot of that wraparound snow. So the southern Appalachians is there for the wraparound snow, also for the Smoky Mountains. And then as you can see, as we get into the northeast, we still have winter storm watches here. Those will be winter storm warnings pretty soon, I do think. And Boston, your totals are going to be on the edge. So we're going to have to see around Boston. They're under a winter storm watch. You're probably going to go under winter storm warning, but I will warn that the places west of you are going to get more than you. I just wanted to go ahead and specify that. And as you can see, we also do have winter storm warnings all the way from parts of central Virginia all the way up to New York City and into Connecticut. So pretty extensive. And of course, a lot of central and eastern Pennsylvania is under it. Maryland, pretty much almost the whole state, if not the whole state, is under those winter storm warnings. And then, yeah, so that's what we're looking at. DC, you're also under those winter storm warnings. So yeah, let's go ahead and get into the rest of this forecast. Let's go ahead and go to the HRRR. I'll just show you the Midwest, what's going on right now. So as you can see, we still have this as our main low, but we are getting another one to take over on the coast of North Carolina. As we do speak, it's really working on it. And as you can see, we still do have some snow, especially coming off of the lakes. And then you can see we have some snow here too. It's really starting to wind down in many spots, but Indianapolis, you started as really heavy snow. Then you changed over to rain. On this backside, you are going to change to snow again. So you can see a quick maybe inch or two from that. Nothing major, but we could see a little bit from that possibly. But you can see Indianapolis, you will be getting a little bit of snow, and we still do have the snow coming off the lakes for Chicago and parts of southeast Wisconsin. And then we still have snow falling across Ohio at a better rate. Not the heaviest snow we have in the system, but you'll still have some snow falling. And then once we get into later into this evening, getting into the night, it starts to wind down in many spots. Indianapolis starting to wind down for you, and then we still have that snow for a lot of western Pennsylvania and Ohio. And then as you can see, as we get later on into tonight, things really do start to calm down in Chicago. You're pretty much out of it. There might be a few showers coming off the lakes, but nothing crazy for you. And you can see we still do have some of these wraparound these showers, and this upper low is really going to be helping shoot some showers towards here. It's going to trigger that northwest flow for many people. So many people, and especially along the mountains, the Appalachians, you could be getting quite a bit of snow from this, possibly the northwest flow. Sometimes y'all do pretty good with that kind of stuff. So let's go ahead and look at any additional snow. You're not going to be getting much there. So let's go ahead and look at total accumulated snowfall. I'm not expecting much from any of you. It's pretty much over now. A lot of you are already seeing quite a bit of snow, so I mean, you really can't tell an inch or two more most of the time. But you can see a dusting for many areas in this gray, dusting to a coating to an inch for many of you in these gray areas. And then right here you can see where we do have these winter weather alerts still in place. You can see we have the 1 to 2 inches, maybe a little bit more inch, maybe near Chicago. And then you can see we still do have a good 2 to 4 inches for many of these areas, especially as we get over here towards Ohio. Cleveland, you have some dry area that you're working with towards that area, so there's not as much snow going on. And you can see we have maybe another quick dusting to an inch down here in parts of Kentucky with this wraparound moisture. And then you can see to the east, you can see those totals start climbing once we get into western Pennsylvania. And then you can see West Virginia maybe dusting, so nothing crazy there. So let's go ahead and go on. This is what's happening right now. So you can see the main system is on the east coast, like the main moisture. you know, the biggest part. You can see here's where the mix line is, and there's DC. DC, you're pretty much done with the snow, and it's looking like the rain snow line will go over you. We weren't too sure if it was going to, but it looks like it's going to do that. So this track has moved a little bit, which is going to put you in more of that mix or rain later on. So I would say your snow's pretty much over with, so don't expect too much more. And as you can see, as we keep going on, a lot of Jersey and Pennsylvania is going to be getting in on it. They already are. I know someone that lives in Pennsylvania, and they said they already have about 2 inches of snow, and it's coming down pretty quickly. And that's eastern Pennsylvania. Now, remember, DC, you could get a little bit more snow, but I'm not expecting too much more. But definitely could pick up maybe another inch or two in some spots, especially with some of that wraparound moisture later on. That's when I would expect it. You can see that'd be later on tomorrow, but you can see in tonight, but you can see it's going to be wrapping around, and you could be getting some snow from that too. So not extremely over, but it's pretty, the main part is over, but you are going to be having a lot of the snow showers coming on, which will give you a little bit more snow in the DC area. DC, you're not the bullseye. Northeast of you definitely is. As you can see, this is going to be the bullseye. Pretty likely it is going to be. And as we keep going on, here is 12 hours from now. You can see that coastal low, and then we have the upper low that's not our main low anymore. It's kind of just slowly moving to the east and bringing some showers of snow or rain with it. But you can see that rain snow line is going to be in southern Jersey, and there's even a mix down here. And you can see we have some good snows across pretty much the whole state of Pennsylvania is getting snow. And some of the heaviest bands are in here, especially near that rain snow line. You have some really heavy snow if you're on the right side. Now, as we get into 15 hours from now, this is as we get into late tonight, and you can see things really do start to crank up for parts of northern New Jersey. As we get to New York City, is going to be some very heavy snow, and then Long Island, you're going to be on that snow. And the rain snow line at this point is up to central Jersey, and we still do have some of that snow over here. Not as heavy, but we still do have some. You can see we have a lot of that northwest flow going on for parts of Kentucky, getting into the Appalachians. Some of that could spill over the mountains to other areas of the lower elevations of Virginia and North Carolina, but nothing too major there, and could just be rain for some of you if you're warmer. And as you can see, as we keep going on, we have some pretty heavy snows still happening as we get into when you're going to start waking up tomorrow. You'll wake up to very heavy snow, most likely in North Jersey, getting into Long Island and New York City. I will warn, Long Island's going to be close to that rain snow line. So tonight is really going to be some of your really good snows, especially as we get into tomorrow. We're going to have some really heavy snows. But really, once we get into midday tomorrow and a little bit later in the morning, really, you're going to start mixing over. And this rain snow line could go north or south. It depends on where that low placement's going to be. So you just got to watch it. And of course, it'll depend on the temperatures. But at this point, the heaviest snow is really over here. This model has Boston getting in on the snow right away. And then you can see as we get, this is about a day from now, so this is going to be this time tomorrow. And you can see that we do have that heavy snow from North Jersey. That rain snow line is really close to you. Shows New York City possibly getting into that mix, so it could cut down some of your totals. But in this area is where some of our heaviest snows are. And those heaviest snows at this point would be like right here along this rain snow line. But a lot of these areas are going to go into that rain snow line, so that would cut down your totals. So what I would say is you're going to get really heavy snow in some of these spots, and then after you get your heavy burst, it could change over to sleet. I actually was in this, and that's what happened to me. So that's a little bit of caution for some of you. So you might have a really, really huge heavy burst of snow, and then you change over to sleet for a little bit. So we just got to watch and see how things go. But North Jersey, and I'd say especially Eastern PA, I'd say you're in like the best spot. And then you can see at this point, this model doesn't have Boston mixing in as much to rain. I do think we will, more than this is saying possibly. But you can see some pretty heavy snows over here. It's starting to taper down a little bit over in the Eastern PA. And then we have a huge swath of snow coming in to parts of Vermont, New Hampshire, and southwest Maine. Now, as we continue to go on, this is when Boston, this shows that you are definitely going to change over most likely to a mix or rain. I think it's really not a question. I think you need to be more west to get into those biggest totals. And then as you can see, as we get to New York City, it's going to be a mixed bag probably for many of you. And then as we go more west into parts near Allentown or maybe even northern Jersey, we are in a better spot when it does come to that. And then you can see as we get into when people are actually when you're going to bed on Monday night, this is what it could look like. And you can see the biggest swath is going to be up here towards Maine, northern Vermont, northern New Hampshire, getting into upstate New York and actually a lot in the New York State. But I will warn, these won't be the heaviest snowfall rates you've ever seen, but could pick up a little bit of snow from that. And then you can see Maine is really going to be in the bulk of this once we get into your Tuesday morning, but we still do have a lot of lingering showers for New York City, eastern New York State, getting into Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, eastern PA really. So we'll just be watching for that. And then you can see it keeps lifting, and then this low pressure is going to go over here, and it's going to be bringing quite a lot of moisture up there too towards Maine. So it could really ramp up for Maine too. As you can see, as this moisture gets really close, you're going to ramp up in Maine, but you can see how far that rain snow line is going to be because of the placement of that low. This is where that rain snow line is going to be, or at least where the wintry mix line. That's pretty far north. So I'd say the best spot for totals and once we get into Maine where you might not change over would be in this area over here. That's not a very good circle, but you know what I mean. You see where it is. So just make sure you're try to be cautious because yeah, it's going to be, you could have a lot of these spots in the Northeast. Most of you are going to stay all snow. Some of you, especially in the coastal areas, you could have a big layer of snow, then a layer of sleet. So you just got to watch out because sleet is a nightmare to drive. I know it's a nightmare to drive in, especially once you get with the snow. So actually, let's see what this is saying for snow totals. These are pretty crazy, and I actually don't think they're that wrong. Now remember, some of these models, most of the models include sleet in their snow totals, and usually sleet a lot of times can actually push down your snow totals. So let's say you have 5 inches of snow and it sleets for 30 minutes, you could go down an inch or two. But as you can see right here, we have a huge swath of snow, especially in here, and our bullseye would be in here. And this is like northwest Jersey, near the a little bit north of Allentown, and as we get into southwest New York State, it shows you getting like 2 feet to 30 inches in some spots. That could be a little bit overdone, but really I think it is definitely possible for some of you. And then it shows New York City a little bit on the tinier side of the totals, but still, that's like 12 to 18 inches. So New York City, you look like you're going to be in a pretty good spot. And then Long Island, I'd say western Long Island is in a better spot than once we go more down. Oh gosh, more down. And then as we get into Boston, it's going to be a quick cutoff, so we just got to watch what happens there. Boston's right on the edge. The bullseye was over Boston with the models a few days ago, but now it's kind of moved more west. Just like the bullseye a few days ago was here, and now it's moved all the way up here. So I'm just saying, slight changes, like I've been saying, really change what happens. And then as you can see in these areas, it shows a good swath of 5 to 8 inches. Now remember, the totals up in here will be bigger than this probably because this model doesn't go out all the way. And then as you can see, upstate New York could pick up quite a bit of snow for some areas. You can see upwards of a foot in parts of upstate New York, and then 3 to 5 once we get into northwest upstate New York. And then over here, we have a good swath of 3 to 5. Really, this model gives 3 to 5 inches over here. And then it shows for parts of Kentucky actually getting into those 2 to 4 inches. So we'll just have to be watching out there. Could get some good totals for many of you. Nothing, once we go west, nothing blockbuster, but I do think once we get into parts of near Allentown, oh my gosh, sorry, I'm choking up, North Jersey, and then once we get into parts of southwest New York, we could be getting in on some good totals too, which could be blockbuster. So as you can see, here's a little bit of extension from the other one. This is not as high resolution, but as you can see, it does push that low out, but it takes a long time. And Maine, you could be really lingering, especially in that snow. We'll have lingering snow showers in a lot of the Northeast. And then we have more systems coming through, maybe one next weekend, which looks really interesting. And once that one comes through, it shows like negatives for a lot of the U.S., but I'll cover that later on if it starts looking especially more likely than it is right now. So let's look at what the models are saying for totals. Let's go back a little bit here. Here we go. So as you can see, here's what we're looking at for totals with the European model. It still has that bullseye over like the same spot. I will warn, this gives DC about 5 inches. Like if you, let's just see how this verifies. I think the HRR is doing a little bit of a better job with a lot of this, but we'll have to see. I think this is overdoing a little bit. And once we go into DC, because I don't think it's picking up on the mix line as good as the other one is, because the other one's more of a short range model. It is a short range model, so that's just what I'm saying. But right here, I do think we'll have a very, very good bullseye. That's where the bullseye is going to be. 12 to 18 plus, like the other model said, it showed 30 inches, and that's a very reliable model. And you can see it shows another good area of snow in here. And you can see that mixing in could really pull you down in parts of Maine too. So yeah, I hope y'all did enjoy today's video. If you did, make sure to leave a like down below. I just tried to show you 2 different models, what they're saying for snowfall. They are still disagreeing. Some models are showing more, some models are showing less for many of you. Boston, you are going to be right on the edge. I do think you're going to change over to rain. That'll probably cut down a lot of your totals. This isn't counting in when the rain mixes in and all that. So these totals will probably be a little bit tinier than this. But once you go west, we have some better totals. So yeah, hope y'all did enjoy. This might be the last forecast for the storm, or maybe I'll do one more because we have another one behind this and then another one, and then maybe a huge blast of cold air once we get into next week. Not this upcoming week, but next week. So yeah, hope y'all did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.